How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether the price is going up or down. Terra co-founder Do Kwon's extradition approved by Montenegro Court. Terra founder Do Kwon's extradition has been approved by a court in Montenegro's capital, Patricia, though a final decision has yet to be made on whether he'll be extradited to the US or South Korea. He will first serve a 4-month sentence in Montenegro for document forgery when he is trying to escape. South Korean investigators have argued that with key evidence and accomplices relating to the case based in South Korea, he should be tried as home country, but he also faces criminal fraud charges in the US alongside civil lawsuits by the SEC. His lawyers have filed a motion to dismiss the SEC's lawsuit, arguing that TUSD is a currency rather than a security, so they have no say in it. Axie Infinity starts giving NFT owners commercial rights as official merch drops. Turn-based NFT monster battling game Axie Infinity is taking a leap into commercialization of its colorful axolotl-inspired characters, releasing official merchandise and allowing owners of certain Axie NFTs to create and sell their own products. Holders of select 4,877 Axie NFTs will be able to create and monetize their own merch, user-generated content or UGC, and businesses using their Mystic and Origin NFTs. We wanted to lean into the UGC that ownership enables, but we want to iterate and do it in steps. Origin Mystics were a natural choice to start testing with since they're the Genesis collection. So because they're some of the first collections, they're going to start with these collections. They do have plans on rolling out for other collections, but currently this is only 0.04% of Axie NFTs that will allow you to do this. So it's not all Axie NFTs, but there is plans to make it roll out progressively to other NFTs in the Axie line. Over on the Dixie, we haven't really gone too far. We are getting a big red candle coming down. If we see another red candle, we are likely going to break, push down to this green EMA, and possibly see lower price action. RSI is coming out, stochastic wants to round away. Our money flow wants to break bearish, VWAP wants to come down, and our momentum is trying to come up, but with the VWAP coming down, that momentum's likely going to lose some steam and roll back over. Over on the total, we are struggling to push forward. We are getting some weak green candles. We got rejected by this red Fibonacci area again, so we keep getting rejected. We may see a Bart Simpson rejection to the downside. RSI is overall trending away, momentum's falling, money flow's pretty flat, our stochastic wants to push up, but we overall have bearish divergence, and our VWAP is struggling to make strong highs and starting to roll away. So if that VWAP breaks bearish, we could see a bearish trend form, and it start to favor the bearish territory, which would result in us heading back down and possibly filling the golden pocket down here around that 353 zone. Over on Bitcoin futures, we do have a manipulation X that does want to print for tomorrow's candle, so be wary of that. Our green candle for today wasn't too strong. It was kind of a tweezer bottom, as it was the same size as our red candle, but if we get a strong red candle tomorrow with this manipulation X that could get invalidated, we may get resistance from both these EMA levels, at which point we will trend to the yellow one and possibly to the red one. Stochastic is pushing down, RSI is starting to trend away, our money flow does want to start to roll away, momentum is starting to taper off, our VWAP is barely in that bullish territory, so if it starts to flip into the bearish territory and become weaker on these lower time frames, the 2-hour money flow is bearish, 1-hour money flow is breaking back into the bearish territory, 4-hour it is bearish. So here you would watch the 1-hour, you'd want to see if this 1-hour continues down. If our 1-hour continues down, it's very likely the daily will start to break even lower and dominance will start to fade out, which would result in us going into either stablecoins or dollars, or possibly altcoins. Over on Bitcoin futures, RSI is overall trending out still. Our momentum does want to come down, stochastic's overall heading down, It is starting to curl away after getting a bullish cross. Our VWAP is in the bullish territory with our money flow, but the VWAP does look like it could start to round away. So if it rounds away and favors the bearish territory over the next few days, it's very likely futures will make a break to the downside. This is a pretty decent rising channel we have. Could push it like that, and then so this could not too bad of a breakdown, as it's not that big of a channel. The bigger the channel, the bigger the break. So 1, 2, 3, possibly. This may be our fourth touch. So we could see a break somewhere around here. That would pull us maybe around that gapped area. If that were to happen, we would want to find support in this gapped area. Otherwise, if we do not find support and bounce, it's very likely that the futures will start to roll over, which could result in Bitcoin rolling over as futures leads Bitcoin price. RSI is trending out, money flow is a little iffy, so just keep an eye on things. Over on Bitcoin, we are still within our rising channel. We could be making another rising channel. Still within, maybe that's a freak breakout right there and there. So if this were to be our other rising channel, we could have a breakdown. We would have 1, 2, 3. This would be our fourth touch to the top here as well. So I would watch a pull to the downside. RSI is trending away. Momentum's overall coming down, making bearish divergence. RSI is heading down. It wants to roll over. We have bearish divergence on our RSI as price is still moving up, and our stochastics and our RSI are not pushing forward. So the stochastics getting lower, RSI is getting lower, momentum's getting lower. Those are overall pushing down while price pushes up, so those are all getting divergences. Our VWAP is starting to roll away as well. That VWAP does want to break into that bearish territory. It is rejecting this high right around this 9, where it got rejected several other times. So if we are not able to meet support at that neutral area and we break it, it's very likely we will see this pattern break us down. We will break this green Fibonacci zone, and then we could see a slide into this golden pocket. Over on the 4-hour, we do have a pretty clean rejection here. This is a tweezer top, so if we see continued strong red candles from here, we could get a pretty decent slide. We could make a shoulder, head and a shoulder here, maybe a slanted one. We'll have to kind of see how it plays. So if we drop down, bounce off this 37.1, come back up, kind of hit like 37.5, and then see a push back down from there. That would make a head and shoulders that could push us down from here. Stochastic is coming out. RSI wants to come down. Momentum wants to push down with a red dot. VWAP's breaking into that bearish territory. Our money flow is going pretty flat, so I would watch lower time frames. If our money flow is not in the bullish territory and does not hold bullishly on these lower time frames, then we're going to see the higher time frames start to weaken. On the 2-hour, we are starting to pull away on price action. Stochastic's coming down, momentum's coming down, RSI's coming out. Money flow is starting to come down, but it's still in that bullish territory, and our VWAP is kind of zigzagging around, maintaining kind of even trends, so it's not favoring one side or the other, and that is helping that money flow stay afloat. If it starts to pull to the bearish side more and the highs start to weaken, then we're going to see the VWAP start to pull more bearish. Money flow will start to come out, but currently it's doing pretty healthy moves forward and down, staying within a pretty decent trend. We're getting as big of peaks as we are dips. If these peaks start to weaken and these dips start to increase, then that could be suggestive of the bears getting more control. Over on the 1-hour, RSI is starting to push away. It is starting to break to the downside as our stochastic did push pretty quickly. Our stochastic has bearish momentum here. It's pretty beat down. Money flow is starting to roll away. Our VWAP is starting to favor that bearish territory with lower lows and lower highs, so we do have a bearish trend on the 1-hour here. If that continues, it will lead into the 2 hour, and what I warned of, seeing the higher time frame start to weaken, could start to happen. Real quick, if you haven't already, smash that like, hit the subscribe, and join us in that Discord. Over on graph, we could be making a double top here. We did get a freak break away from this flag. It is pretty invalidated at this point, so I'm going to get rid of all of this. But this could end up being a double top, where this is a rise, a drop, and then another pretty even rise. So if we start to see a pullback from here, and then we break this black EMA or around this 12-cent zone, then it's very likely we could get a push to the downside. Now, the way you read this, you wouldn't really get too big of a push because we didn't really get too clean of a move up. We kind of just got a straight shot and then a straight shot. So you could count this move from like the neckline to up here, but usually I'd count the open area, so it would only be like here to here, and that would only pull us down to this band down here, which would likely be a resistance area. RSI is overall coming out, stochastic wants to roll away, momentum is starting to come down, the VWAP is starting to push away, money flow is starting to come out, so the daily does look alright, but it does look like it could start to pull back here, so I would exercise some caution. Over on the 4 hour, we do have a gap up, so we're likely going to see a pull back, as when you get these gaps to the upside, you likely correct them and fill these gaps. Stochastic is starting to roll away, RSI is starting to roll away, momentum is starting to push down, it has slight bearish divergence as price action is moving higher, while this momentum is still getting lower. Even though we're getting higher here, we are overall lower from this trend to this trend. Our VWAP is coming down. Our VWAP does want to break bearish. Money flow wants to come out, so we could see a pull to the downside. This steam to the upside may be exhausted. Our stochastic does want to make a push here on the 2 hour. RSI wants to push, but we have a red dot, so the stochastic could start to round away. It does have bearish divergence, so I would keep an eye on that. Momentum does have bearish divergence as well. These did carry into that 4 hour. VWAP does want to break bearish, and our money flow is getting close to that neutral, so the VWAP and money flow could both break bearish pretty close and possibly together. If they do break together, remember you do tend to see a pretty strong move down. Our stochastic on the 1 hour does want to make a move to the downside, bringing our RSI down with 2 red dots. Momentum is getting a red dot and wants to pull back. Our VWAP is losing some steam. Money flow is starting to roll over as our VWAP is struggling to maintain bullish momentum, and our momentum is starting to drop. Our stochastic does have a bearish divergence, so overall the 1 hour is not looking too good, and it could start to favor the bearish territory in the next few candles again. Over on Anchor for the daily, we are meeting some resistance right around this value area low. We just can't get above it right now. RSI is pushing forward, but it's starting to flatten out. Stochastic's doing the same. Our money flow is starting to come down. VWAP is struggling to go over that neutral, so if the VWAP rolls over here, it's likely the bears would pull us back, and we would see a drop down, at which point, remember, we have that 21-cent value area low. That's a bigger value area. That's from here to here rather than here to here. And then if we broke that, we do have that gap to the downside yet. Stochastic is pretty beat down. Money flow could come out. VWAP looks like it wants to round, so I would exercise some caution and watch the lower time frames. Over on the 4 hour, we are in a rising channel with a gap up, so we could drop down and fill that gap just like graph. Stochastic does want to pull back. RSI could start to pull back. Our money flow wants to make a move to the downside as our VWAP is starting to drop. Our VWAP is about to break neutral, so if it makes a lower low, we could see the bears start to regain some control. Our momentum is in the bullish territory, so that is good for us. If we start to favor bullishly like we are right now, that momentum could pull forward, and that money flow could start to pull back up, and we could see price action continue forward. but if the money flow and VWAP start to break bearish, then it's likely we are going to see price action roll over and fill that gap. Over on the 2 hour, stochastic is starting to come down. RSI is kind of indecisive. Our momentum does want to roll away with a red dot as our VWAP is breaking bearish. That money flow is in the bearish territory, kind of struggling to break through. So if it starts to pull back and gets a lower low, we could see the bears start to pull price action down. However, if this VWAP makes it bounce and the money flow bounces with it to the bullish side, then it's likely price action will continue up. Over on the 1 hour, stochastic is pushing down pretty quickly. RSI is rolling away. Momentum is starting to roll away. Our VWAP is in a bearish trend, but our money flow is bullish. So if this VWAP does not maintain this bearish trend and favor the bearish territory with lower lows like back here, then it's likely the bulls could try to regain some momentum to the upside if this money flow is able to sustain. Over on XRP for the daily, we are seeing a slight pullback start for tomorrow. We don't really have much movement for today. We're struggling to get above these EMAs, kind of like Bitcoin and Graph. RSI is starting to head out. Stochastic wants to roll over. Our VWAP wants to roll over. Money flow looks like it could start to pull back, but is in the bullish territory still. The momentum does want to push forward, so we are a little indecisive, as we did make a bounce and we're not really going anywhere afterwards. Over on the 4 hour, we could have a bit of a double, I don't know, maybe a double top. It'd be weird. This could form an inverted head and shoulders if we're lucky, so this could be a shoulder, a head, and then we could come down, make a bounce off this EMA, make another shoulder. That would be our bullish case scenario. That could push us up toward this 65 cent zone. So that would be possibly our most hopium for now. Stochastic is rounding away though. RSI wants to head down. Momentum wants to roll away. Our momentum does have a red dot as our VWAP did break bearish, but the VWAP isn't gaining much momentum. If the VWAP doesn't gain some ground soon, then the bulls may be able to snap us back and push us to the upside sooner rather than later, or we could see price try to get a manipulation push down and then a sharp rebound back up. Over on the 2 hour, you can see we're starting to go flat after getting a rise up. So we have this kind of rise, stair step, rise, stair step, rise, stair step. So if that continues, it's likely we are going to see a push to the upside soon, try to accelerate price movement. RSI does want to head down. Stochastic's overall coming out with bearish divergence while we make this bullish move up. So those are kind of in disagreement, not in confluence. Our money flow does want to come down. The money flow wants to break red, so it wants to break bearish. VWAP does want to reject that neutral, so if the VWAP rejects neutral and our money flow pulls bearish, then it's very likely the 2 hour will snap to the downside rather than the usual upside that a bull flag would give you. Over on the 1 hour, pretty same scenario where we have that chop sideways, a pump, chop sideways, a pump. We could try to pump after this chop sideways, but I would watch this money flow closely. Our money flow does want to come down. The VWAP is starting to break that neutral, so if the VWAP breaks neutral and brings the money flow down with it, bringing this momentum down, that momentum has a red dot, then we could see that snap to the downside rather than the upside. Remember, not every pattern plays out 100%. Sometimes you have to watch for the indicators that the pattern will play out opposite. RSI is trying to roll over. Stochastic wants to make a push to the downside, so overall the 1 hour is not too strong here. Over on Algo for the daily, we don't have much movement here either. Momentum is coming down. RSI wants to come down. Our stochastic is pretty flat, and our VWAP is struggling to break that neutral. So we could see the bears take over if we are not able to gain some decent momentum from here. We zoom out on the 4 hour. Stochastic wants to come down. RSI wants to head out. Momentum is starting to roll away. VWAP wants to come down, so I would watch. If that VWAP breaks bearish, it is getting higher highs with higher lows, so it does have a bullish trend that did help us. However, that trend does look like it is starting to get exhausted and could pull back. Over on the 2 hour, you can see we're kind of in an up channel. Remember, those up channels are a bearish pattern. Stochastic wants to roll away here. Momentum wants to roll away. Money flows in that bearish territory. VWAP's in the bearish territory. Momentum's rolling away. RSI could come down because our stochastic's spilling over. So overall, the 2 hour does look like we could see the bears gain some control to the downside. We are getting some green candles that want to kind of scoop us back up. So if we get some strong green candles that bounce us off these EMAs, that would be positive. We could capture some of these previous price highs. But if we don't see some strong green candles soon, it's very likely we will roll over and see price action snap to the downside and below these higher EMAs, which then the bears will have more control and a stronger hold on us. Finally, on the 1 hour, our EMAs are very tight, so we have a lot of resistance here. We are trying to flip our trend. If our lower EMAs flip under here, then we could see that spill into the higher time frames, and again, the bears would have a stronger hold on us. Momentum does want to roll over. Stochastic wants to push down. RSI wants to head out. Our money flow is struggling to maintain a bullish trend. It is slightly in the bullish territory, but our VWAP is favoring the bearish territory. If this VWAP comes up, rejects that neutral, and continues in this bearish territory, that money flow could easily weaken, and then we could see price action start to move down on our higher time frames. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a wonderful night.